Hello my dear students. In science we have already started with the lesson substances in common use. Today we shall learn about some of the important salts, starting with the first one, that is sodium chloride. You know that sodium chloride, also called as common salt or table salt, is mostly used for cooking, and it is most used of all the salt. Its chemical name is sodium chloride, okay, and it is formed due to neutralization reaction. Now last year you have learned about neutralization reaction. Even this year also you have learned about neutralization reaction. That is a reaction in which an acid reacts with a base to form salt and water. Now, since sodium chloride is also formed due to neutralization reaction between hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide, okay, you get the neutral salt sodium chloride. Since hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide are strong acid and strong base, sodium chloride is neutral. And you have learned about the pH solutions also, that the neutral solution has the pH of 7. So even since sodium chloride is formed from strong acid and strong base, its pH is 7. That means it's a neutral salt. So let us now study about the properties and uses of sodium chloride. So which is also called as common salt, is colorless and crystalline ionic compound, but it does not have any water of crystallization. Okay, now what does this water of crystallization means? Water of crystallization means that the molecular formula has presence of water molecule. When it has water molecule present in it, it is called as water of crystallization. Water of crystallization means, suppose if you heat the salt, okay, in a test tube, then you will find at the mouth of the test tube, you will find small crystals of water, small droplets of water. So when these droplets are settling on the test tube, it means that it has the presence of water of crystallization. But if suppose when you are heating the salt, there is no formation of the water droplets on the test tube, that means it does not have any water of crystallization. So even sodium chloride, if you heat it, okay, in a test tube, you will not find any water droplets on the test tube, mouth of the test tube. So which means that it does not have any water of crystallization. Is that clear, students? Okay, so now what are other properties of it? You know, salt, since it's a table salt or common salt which we are mostly using for cooking, it is salty in taste. Okay, now let's proceed a little further. Now what are the uses of this salt? So this salt, the common salt, can be used in the production of two of the other salts, that is, one is washing soda, sodium carbonate, and second is the baking soda or the sodium bicarbonate. It is also used for the production of chlorine gas. Okay, now how it is used in the production of chlorine gas, let us understand this. So it can be by the method called as electrolysis of saturated solution of sodium chloride. A saturated solution means what now? A saturated solution is a solution which is prepared in a water, okay, less amount of water and more quantities of salt, which is unable to dissolve further. So when it is not able to dissolve further in the water, that solution will be called as saturated solution. So to obtain chlorine gas, we are making the saturated solution of the sodium chloride. And you have learned in the previous lesson of acid, bases and salt about the electrolysis, that is wherein by passing the electricity through it, the ions are getting separated. So here also, since sodium chloride is dissolved condition, it is there, it can be electrolyzed. That means by passing the electricity through it, the sodium chloride can be split. So when it is the electrolysis of saturated solution of sodium chloride. Saturated solution of sodium chloride is also called as BRINE, brine solution. Remember this, saturated solution sodium chloride is also called as brine solution. So when this solution is electrolyzed, you will find that at the cathode hydrogen gas is liberated, whereas at the anode you will find that the chlorine gas is liberated. You know that the anode is a positive electrode, whereas a cathode is a negative electrode. So hydrogen being positive, it will settle on the cathode, negative electrode, whereas chlorine gas being negatively charged, it settles on the anode, that is the positively charged electrode. Fine. And you also get another basic compound, that is so very important compound called as sodium hydroxide. Okay, so this is how through electrolysis chlorine gas can be obtained. Let us see a little further now. When this salt is heated to high temperature, okay, around about 800 degrees Celsius, it will start melting, and this melted state of the sodium chloride is also called as the fused state. Okay, through this fused state, in this fused state also what we can do is that once it has molten, it gets converted into a liquid. So again it can be electrolyzed here. Okay, electricity can be passed through this. So when fused salt is electrolyzed, again chlorine gas is released at the anode, and liquid sodium metal okay, is released at the cathode. So you can see this. Okay, so two things I told you about sodium chloride, that is electrolysis. One is in the dissolved. Dissolved means in the saturated condition. That means when it is dissolved in the water, it does not get further dissolved. Okay, that is called as a saturated solution. Here also electrolysis. Through electrolysis, you have found that at the cathode hydrogen gas is released, and at the anode chlorine gas is released. Fine. And an important compound called as sodium hydroxide is also formed in this reaction. Whereas the same sodium chloride, if you just heat it for a long around 800 degrees Celsius, if you just rise the temperature of it, you will find that it will start melting. And this molten state of the sodium chloride is called as the fused state. So in this fused state, again you can, since it is in the molten condition, you can pass electricity through it and electrolysis can be done of it. And again here also you will find that sodium metal, which is, there is a positive sodium ion is positive, it will get deposited at the cathode, whereas the chlorine gas again will be released at the anode. Okay, so this way even sodium metal can be formed. So this is regarding the properties and uses of it. Now let us go little further. So do you know about this, that the salt can be also obtained from something called as a type of a rock, and this type of rock from which the salt is obtained called as the rock salt. Okay, so it can be also obtained, and the examples of these rock salts are mineral halite and Himalayan rock salt. So these are used for the treatment of many diseases. Again, now suppose if you prepare 25% aqueous solution of sodium chloride, that means how we can prepare 25% of aqueous sodium chloride. What you have to do is that you have to take around 25 grams of sodium chloride and dissolve it in water. So dissolve it in 100 ml of water. So when 25 grams of sodium chloride is dissolved in 100 ml of water, this solution will be called as 25% aqueous solution. Aqueous means since it is dissolved in the water, is called as aqueous solution of sodium chloride. Now this 25% aqueous solution of salt is also called as saturated brine. Okay, it is also called as saturated brine. And suppose 1/5 of this, that means 1/5 part of this is salt is evaporated, you will find that the dissolved salt will get crystallized. Okay, dissolved salt will get again crystallized. That means you will evaporate the whole amount of water, and what will be left is again sodium chloride. Okay, now this is regarding the sodium chloride. Let us proceed further with the next salt, that is sodium bicarbonate. Okay, sodium bicarbonate, also called as baking soda. So sodium bicarbonate, you might have seen the crisp cake and the bhajis which are made by using sodium bicarbonate. Why are they crispy? It's because here what is added is what makes them crispy is sodium bicarbonate. Okay, students. So it becomes crispy, the cake becomes porous and the bhaji becomes crispy just because of adding of baking soda. Now let's study about the properties and uses of sodium bicarbonate, or also commonly called as baking soda. So baking soda, it's a white non-crystalline powder, whereas you have learned about the sodium chloride, it is a crystalline compound. This is white but it is not crystalline, it is in the form of smooth powder, okay, fine powder. That's why we call it as non-crystalline powder. Okay, its chemical name is sodium hydrogen carbonate, or also called as sodium bicarbonate. Okay, its chemical name is sodium hydrogen carbonate, that means NaHCO3. Okay, sodium means Na, hydrogen means H, and carbonate means CO3, whereas it can be also called as sodium bicarbonate, and its molecular formula is NaHCO3. So what are the properties and uses of sodium bicarbonate? Let us learn. Sodium bicarbonate reacts with the litmus paper, okay, and turns the red litmus blue. So which means that it is basic in nature. So you have learned earlier that when a red litmus turns blue, it is basic in nature. Okay, now it is used to make substances like bread, cake and dhokla. Okay, so being basic in nature, it can be also used to cure the acidity in the stomach. So sodium bicarbonate also is used to make the active substance carbon dioxide, which can be used in the fire extinguisher. It is also used to clean the oven. Is that clear, students? It is. So many uses are there of the sodium bicarbonate. So you have learned that it is used to make cake, dhokla, it is also used to make bread, it is used to make the active substance carbon dioxide in the fire extinguisher. You have learnt about it in the previous chapter. Okay, and not only this, it is also used to clean the oven. Okay, it is also used to clean the oven. Okay, so this is regarding the sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so there is one more question here. What are the constituents of baking powder? Now, sodium bicarbonate is called as baking soda. What is the difference between baking soda and baking powder? Why baking powder is not called as baking soda? It's because it consists of not only the baking soda, that is sodium bicarbonate, but it also consists of tartaric acid. Okay, it also consists of tartaric acid. So instead of calling it baking soda, we call it as baking powder because it is made up of sodium bicarbonate as well as tartaric acid. So remember this difference, students. Is that clear? So now let us proceed with the next salt, that is now bleaching powder. Bleaching powder, if you see, it is yellowish white colored solid substance. Its chemical name is also called as calcium oxychloride, or the molecular formula is CaOCl2. So bleaching powder has a strong odor of the chlorine gas, and therefore it is used for disinfection of the drinking water at the water works and even in the swimming pool. It is also used for bleaching of the clothes. See, sodium bleaching powder, commonly called as its molecular formula is CaOCl2, and it is called as calcium oxychloride. Where it is used, it is since it has a strong odor of the chlorine gas, it is used for disinfection of the drinking water at the water works. Okay, even in the swimming pool. That is why whenever you go to swimming pool, you will get the odor of the chlorine gas. Even during the rainy season, when after the rainy season, when you are getting the water from the tap and all, municipality water, you will get a strong odor of the chlorine. It's because the chlorine is one of the very good agent of killing the microorganisms, and therefore for disinfecting the microorganisms. Therefore it is not only used at the water works or only in the swimming pool, but even it is used for the disinfection of the roadside and even the garbage sites. Then it is also used, sodium, when it is reacting with the if we see the reaction of the calcium oxychloride, when it reacts with, or this bleaching powder, when it reacts with sodium sulfuric acid, it gives compounds such as salt, such as calcium sulfate, chlorine gas, and the water is released. Okay, so this is what is the reaction of the calcium oxychloride with the hydrogen. So chlorine gas can be obtained this way. So chlorine calcium oxychloride reacts slowly with the carbon dioxide to form calcium carbonate, and chlorine gas is released. So this way also you can get the chlorine gas. So you can get chlorine gas in two reactions. One is by reacting calcium oxychloride with sulfuric acid, and also calcium oxide with the carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, you have learned that, you might have seen that when the bleaching powder is put for the floor tiles and all, okay, to clean the floor tiles and all. Okay, after in the night when you put it, the bleaching powder, the next day you wash it, okay, and you get a strong odor of the chlorine gas. It's because calcium oxychloride or bleaching powder reacts slowly with the carbon dioxide to form white powder which is left on the tiles, that is calcium carbonate, and the chlorine gas. That smell what you get is of the chlorine gas. Okay, so just now I have mentioned to you about the tap water. During the rainy season, it gets a typical strong odor of the chlorine gas. Even the swimming pools, when you go to swimming and all, pool also has a typical strong odor. It is nothing but it is the odor of the chlorine gas used to destroy the microbes in the water. So chlorine gas is a strong oxidizing agent. Now oxidizing agent and all, you will be learning this in detail in standard 10. So that means it is a substance which is used to oxidize certain things. So chlorine gas is a very strong oxidizing agent, and therefore it has a strong disinfecting as well as bleaching action. Bleaching action means what? It bleaches suppose that for a cloth to be clean, suppose any white cloth is there and it has to be, any stain has to be removed, you can use the bleaching powder to remove that stain. So which means that it has a bleaching action. It makes that part white in color. So that action is also of the chlorine of the bleaching powder is also called a bleaching action. Therefore the name of calcium oxychloride commonly is called as bleaching powder, since it has a bleaching action. It makes the cloth white in color. Okay, or anywhere wherever it is put, like on the floor also, that floor becomes cleaned completely. So that action of the bleaching powder is called a bleaching action. Okay, so chlorine gas can be used as disinfecting as well as bleaching action. So being present in the gaseous state, it is inconvenient to handle, and therefore we can use what? Bleaching powder instead of chlorine gas directly. Okay, so calcium oxychloride, when it reacts with carbon dioxide, it gives calcium carbonate plus chlorine. Okay, so this is regarding property of the bleaching powders because of this release of the chlorine gas. Okay, so so you can see that calcium hydroxide can be also treated with the chlorine gas to form. Now suppose if we want to form bleaching powder, how we can make this industrially, how we can prepare this bleaching powder? Okay, for that you will require what? Calcium hydroxide, that is also called as the slaked lime. When it reacts with the chlorine gas, it forms calcium oxychloride or the bleaching powder, and water is given out. Okay, so bleaching powder is obtained by the reaction of chlorine gas with the slaked lime. Okay, so this is regarding the calcium oxychloride. Now, how is calcium oxychloride available in the market? Let us study about this. So now let us study about how it is available in the market, in how bleaching powder is available in the market. So it is found in different types of bleaching powder, and various types are available depending upon the chlorine content. So bleaching powder containing chlorine, bleaching powder containing oxygen, bleaching powder containing peroxide, and bleaching powder containing reducing agent. Okay, so the effectiveness of bleaching powder as disinfectant depends upon how much is the chlorine content. Value of the bleaching powder is directly proportional to the quantity of the available chlorine. That means if you want to buy the bleaching powder of the strong reducing the strong chlorine gas oxidizing agent, okay, so the quality and the money, the value, the price of the bleaching powder depends upon how much will be available chlorine in it. Okay, so this is regarding the bleaching powder. Now we will learn the last important salt in daily life, that is washing soda. Okay, so let's begin with the properties and uses of the washing soda. So washing soda is nothing but a whitish and odorless powder at room temperature. Okay, so you might have heard about the washing soda. So washing soda, where it is used, mostly used to wash the clothes. Okay, so last year also you have learned about the washing soda, that it can be used to soften the hard water. You have learned that hard water consists of the chlorides and carbonate salts of chlorides and sulfate salts of magnesium and calcium, which makes the water hard water. That means it is salty. Okay, so to make it soften, okay, what is added is washing soda. So that you have learnt last year. So what is happening when washing soda is added to it? So once washing soda is added to sodium what is that calcium and magnesium salts of chlorides and sulfate, that is either Cl2 or CaSO4, okay, or MgCl2 and MgSO4. These are the salts which are there in the hard water. So because of this, the water tastes salty, and when you add this washing soda to it, it forms the insoluble salts. So suppose the reaction is MgCl2 plus Na2CO3. What you will get? You will get MgCO 3 and NaCl. So MgCO3 which is formed is an insoluble salt, so which remains at the bottom of the water, and whatever remains, the water which remains up is soft water. So that you have learnt last year. So which here it is mentioned, but not in detail. So let's proceed further with the property. So whitish, it is washing soda is whitish, odorless, that means there is no odor for it, and it at room temperature. Fine. Now when it is tested with the litmus paper, you will find that the red litmus turns blue, which means that it is basic in nature. Blue does not change its color, you can see. So it is also called as hygroscopic in nature. What is hygroscopic? Hygroscopic means any powder which absorbs moisture from the air. So when it absorbs moisture from the air, you will find that that salt becomes wet salt. If you keep it outside for a long time, you will find that it absorbs moisture and it becomes wet. Okay, that property is called as hygroscopic property. Okay, hygroscopic in nature. So washing soda is also hygroscopic in nature. It's because, you will understand little later, because here it has water of crystallization. Okay, 10 waters of crystallization. This word I have dealt with when I was teaching you sodium chloride, wherein sodium chloride do not have any water of crystallization, whereas if you see washing soda, it has water of crystallization. Around 10 molecules of water of crystallization are present for sodium carbonate, and therefore what happens is that when it is heated, you will find at the mouth of the test tube water droplets, which means that is water of crystallization. But washing soda, which is available chemically, it's removed, all the water of crystallization is removed, and therefore suppose that same powder, if you keep it outside, what will happen? It will absorb moisture from the air, and because of this it is also called as hygroscopic in nature. So let's proceed further. It is since it absorbs moisture, if left exposed to it air, it is also called as hygroscopic in nature. Now where it is used? It is mostly used for washing of clothes. Okay, so sodium bicarbonate also used in the manufacture of glass and paper industry, and also of refining of the petrol. Okay, so the sodium carbonate, that is washing soda, is soluble in water. Okay, it is water soluble salt of sodium. Crystalline sodium carbonate, on keeping, loses its water of crystallization readily, and white powder is obtained. You can see over here that the water of crystallization was lost, and therefore it becomes white in color after that. So this powder which is now obtained is also called as washing soda. Now let's see what is its reaction of sodium carbonate with sulfuric acid. So when sodium carbonate, can you complete this? Can you complete this reaction? What can be formed here? Yes, you are right. Sodium carbonate, when it reacts with sulfuric acid, it will first form the salt called as Na2SO4, that is sodium sulfate. Now sodium sulfate is over. Now what is left is CO3 is left and H2 is left. So H2 will combine with one of the oxygen to form water, that is H2O. And now CO, out of CO3, one oxygen is gone for water. So what is left now is CO2. So what will form now? Water and CO2. So all three compounds are Na2SO4, then carbon dioxide and water. So this is the reaction of sodium carbonate with sulfuric acid. So you can see what is formed. So this is regarding the important salts in daily life. So what we are going to study next is about some crystalline salts in the next video. So till then students, bye and thank you.